right?
This was my concern for Caleb Williams. I don't trust the Bears ownership. The executive suite yesterday was embarrassing. 7 straight losses. I mean, they couldn't get the press conference right when they fired Matt Eberflus. This is the concern. Again, they had a chance at Jim Harbaugh, but apparently Kevin Warren, the president, and Harbaugh have a history, and it's not a good one. They were outgained 319 yards to 4 in the first half. That's beyond bad. That's embarrassing.
Okay. So, I have shared my opinions a lot on Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. I've gone on and on and on about them. And this is a team and a franchise that is wildly popular, obviously, and massive hype around them. People like Nick Wright saying Super Bowl and all that, and this, that, and the third. Now, the reality is, though, especially when you look at a lot of ex-NFL athletes who are on TV, whether it be the Dan Orlovskis of the world, Hawks, all of those people, especially a lot of the guys on ESPN, they actually gave a lot of caution to this team and saying, because there was all those conversations about how many yards can Caleb Williams throw for? Will he win Rookie of the Year? Will they make the playoffs? And there was a lot of clips where people were like, no. And Colin was actually one of the only people on FS1 to really be like, I don't see it with the Bears this year. So the reality is that they're actually having a season that even the big fans, the big supporters of Caleb and the Bears were just kind of like, hey, this is rookie year. This stuff is hard. Don't assume that this team is just magically going to be CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans of last year. And that's not saying that he can't be better than them or anything like that. You don't get lost in that comparison. It's just realize that that's more of an outlier of a rookie and not necessarily a 100% indicator of greatness, success, etc. So with all that said, I'm curious. This is one of those times when I really just want to talk directly to the fans, especially Chicago Bears fans. Like, what is your read on this? Because I've already pretty much said everything that I could say about the Chicago Bears in terms of what I expect this season now. Because I expect nothing, truly nothing from Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears this season because it's been a disaster. It's been a mess. Firing the coordinator, firing the head coach. I don't expect now Caleb Williams to continue to get better and better and better. That would be irrational. That would be unfair. I don't care how amazing of a quarterback you're going to be or is supposed to be. This type of situation is brutal to succeed in. In no way could we put this on a rookie quarterback to be able to be better. Even if we want to say, hey, he hasn't been playing that good, or hey, watch that game, he didn't play good. Look at that fumble he had. That's all fine. But at this point, it just doesn't matter to me because I'm not expecting him to look good right now. I'm just not. You could make the argument earlier on in the season. At least you had a more valid argument. But at this point, it's such a disaster. It's such a mess that it's just like, 7 sacks for 46 yards, right? 4 yards in the first half. I mean, it's just kind of wild. And no, I even though Caleb has some blame for some of this, he certainly doesn't have all of the blame. And the team is just such a mess. I wouldn't expect a third-year quarterback. Job is to just kind of get a little bit better week to week to week. Why should I expect? You expect great quarterbacks in great systems to get better with great coaches. So why would I expect him to? And so, unfortunately, that will be the foundation of every single take I have from here on out. And this is just another indicator of that. But that's why I'm really trying to ask directly to Chicago Bears fans, how do you feel in this moment? What do you make of this team? What do you make of Caleb Williams? And this is why I try my best. Sometimes I just feel it. Why I try my best to really not come out so strong with such confident takes. Because I remember Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright sitting on that couch. Nick was sitting on that couch. I think they were off. First things first was off. And Nick was in street clothes. He was literally in a sweatshirt and had chains and stuff and all his rings and everything. He was just straight chilling. And he's like, Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears are going to the Super Bowl. And I made the video and I said, it's possible. I said, I was like, it's possible, but probably not likely. Like I wanted to get into the hype because I know how well a video will do. If I say the Chicago Bears are going to the Super Bowl, everyone's going to be all happy and excited about it. But I was like, I can't get there. And now you have this team who's 4-9. And I remember even talking to Chicago Bears fans before this run really kind of took place. I think it was right before the Commanders game. So many Chicago Bears fans were so confident. Oh, yeah, all we do is have to split. Once they get into that gauntlet where they were playing all the divisional games, they're like, all we do is have to split and we're good. And the defense, as long as the defense, all the offense only has to put up like 20 points. As long as they do that, we're good. And there was just such confidence. And I was like, all right, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. And now here we are. I mean, it can't get much more worse than this. It really can't. I mean, they looked better against the Titans in week 1 than they do right now. I mean, this is just such a disconnected team. I mean, from every stretch of the imagination. The average for a running back, a run game in the NFL is 4.5 yards. You got Swift, 14 carries for 38 yards, 2.7 yards per attempt. I know they were behind and all of that, but still, 2.7 yards. I mean, then you have Caleb, 17. If you just had 17 for 23, like 17 for 23, he played pretty well. I mean, how many completions do you want? I mean, that's great completion percentage. 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, 116 rating, 7 sacks for 46 yards. The Bears were 3 yards per pass and 3.2 yards per rush. To put that in perspective, they had 10 drives, okay? 10 drives, and they got 14 first downs. To put that in perspective, the Eagles and the Panthers, who didn't particularly play that great, had 9 drives each. The Eagles had 18 first downs, and the Panthers had 20 first downs, okay? And the Bears had an extra drive and significantly less first downs. And again, that was the Eagles and the Panthers, who again didn't even particularly play that well. I mean, having 10 drives and 14 first downs is kind of mind-blowing. I mean, it really is. It's like essentially just getting one extra first down every once in a while per drive, and then boom. I mean, it's outrageous. I don't even really know how that's possible, quite frankly. How you can be such a mess. I mean, there was such a mess on defense. The 49ers, I mean, their receivers were just wide open. I remember at one point, I forget who was commentating the game, but he was like, and so is wide open again. Like it was just endless. It was just every wide receiver felt like they were wide open. And that is the problem. When you fire an Eberflus, whose special was the defense, you fire him because obviously the season has unfolded terribly. And his game management, all of that, well documented. But yet he obviously at least had that defense going well. And now you fire him, and it's like, well, now the defense goes out the window as well. And that's why when they lost to the Lions, I said, it's a shame that in football they don't demote coaches. It's all about firing. In reality, they should say, all right, you know what, Eberflus, you're great on defense. You're not good at running a team. You're not good, having to give these locker room speeches and in-game management and all of that. You understand defense is great. We're going to demote you. You're going to be the defensive coordinator. We're going to hire someone else to be the head coach. That's how it should be. That's how it works in a lot of other businesses and a lot of other industries. It's not just like, oh, you're fired. You're out of here. It's like, no, we realize that you're probably not best for this position. And we probably promoted you a little too early. We're going to pull you back down. We're going to put you back in, whatever. And there you go. I mean, that's what lots of companies do. They don't just say, oh, you're not good at this position, you're fired. Especially when you're doing other stuff really well. So, yeah, I mean, if you think about it now, that when the Bears go out and get a new head coach, they now need someone who could run the offense, and now they need to refine someone who can do the defense. For the longest time, and I shouldn't say the longest time, but for the last couple of years or so, it was like, okay, this defense is legit. They just need a quarterback. There you go. Now the problem is they need to figure stuff out on both sides of the ball. They now need to redevelop a young quarterback whose rookie year was completely fumbled. They need to hire a new coach, and now they need to figure out what do they do defensively. And especially now if they hire a defensive head coach, they'll get the defense back on track. But now they have to figure out who do they hire for an offensive coordinator. It's a mess. It is an absolute mess. There's no one can sugarcoat it. They just can't. It's a mess. This offseason, all the conversations that we're going to have, I'm actually really fascinated to see what it's going to look like. It all depends on who they hire, how much hype and energy is behind it. But you have to like understand and be realistic. This is an actual mess, which is why I said earlier, I don't know if you really hire some first-time head coach. I think you need a true alpha, a true guy, someone who really understands what needs to be done, who can really right this ship. You would honestly be better off, and I'm not saying to do this to be very clear, but you would be better off hiring a Mike McCarthy than another hotshot offensive coordinator who's going to be a first-time head coach. Just because you know without a shadow of a doubt that Mike McCarthy knows how to run an offense, knows how to run a team. He's consistently done that. Yes, he's not great. He's not through the moon. And I'm just using Mike McCarthy as like a bare minimum example of how important it is to find someone who you know knows how to run a team and has done it for a long time, who can really walk in. And I don't see Mike McCarthy as like a big alpha guy either. That's kind of part of his problem a little bit in Dallas. But that's more because of Jerry Jones and having big personalities like Micah Parsons and whatnot. But that's where I think of Vrabel, I warmed up to him, even though he's defensive minded and I do stand by offense. The fact that this team is such a mess, I think getting someone who can come in there and really command a locker room, command the presence and take up space is honestly probably the utmost importance. Because to try to now have a coordinator learn how to be a head coach in real time on the job with a rookie quarterback, a young quarterback who needs to be developed, like it's got more blow up potential. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams? I mean, what do you even make of this season at this point and this game? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.